The Maitraka dynasty had ruled over Gujarat from the 475 to 770 AD. The founder of Maitraka dynasty was Senapati Bhatarka, who was a military governor of Saurashtra Peninsula under the Gupta Empire. He had established himself as the independent ruler of Gujarat. The first two Maitraka rulers, Bhatarka and Dhara-sena-1, used the title of Senapati, while the third ruler Drona-simha carried the title of Maharaja. King Guhasena stopped using the term Parama-bhattaraka, Padanu-dhyata along with his name like his predecessors, which denotes the cessation of all forms of allegiance to the Gupta overlord. He was succeeded by his son Dhara-sena-2, who started using the title of Maharajdhiraja Dharasena-2, was succeeded by his son Siladitya I Dharmaditya, who ruled between 605 AD 610 AD, and whose empire covered vast territory. During his reign, Valabhi was the most powerful kingdom in western India. Inscription number 71. Mota Machiala plates of Dharasena-2, Gupta year 252. Provenance, Mota Machiala, District Amreli, Gujarat. Script, Brahmi of the southern class. Language, Sanskrit. English translation of the inscription. Peace. From Valabhi. Among the Maitrakas, who forcibly subdued their enemies, there was the illustrious General Bhatarka, a devout worshipper of Shiva who had attained glory from hundreds of blows struck on the extensive circle of his force of matchless power, and who had acquired the majesty of kingship with the strength of a multitude of servants and friends, who had either submitted to his prowess or were acquired through gifts, honors and straightforward dealings, or were hereditary and loyal because of love. His son was the devout worshipper of Shiva, the general Dharasena, whose bent head was made tawny and was purified by the dust on his father's feet. The rays of the line of nails of his feet were covered with the glow of his crest jewels of his enemies, while bowing their heads in obeisance, upon whose wealth the miserable and helpless people subsisted. His younger brother was the devout worshipper of Shiva, Maharaja Drona-simha, whose crest jewel was all the more auspicious and pure from bending in obeisance to his older brother's feet, who considered it his duty to implement the laws instituted by Manu and others, who like Dharmaraja had established the system of discipline and order, whose anointment was made personally in a coronation by the Supreme Lord, the ruler of the entire sphere of the earth, and his royal splendor was purified by this grand conferment. His younger brother, a devout worshipper of Vishnu, was Maharaja Dharasena, who with the strength of his own arm, like a lion, was the sole conqueror of the multitudinous elephant corps of his enemies, who was shelter to those who sought it, who understood the true meaning and essence of the scriptures, who, like wish tree, was the giver of desired fruit and enjoyment to his friends and admirers. His younger brother, a devout worshipper of the sun god, was Sri Maharaja Dharmaditya, who had washed all his sins by falling in obeisance on his lotus-like feet, who had washed off all the blemishes of the evil age with the water that was his good conduct, whose eminence became renowned in consequence of his having completely subdued by force the faction of his enemies. His son, a devout worshipper of Shiva, was the Maharaja Sri Guhasena, who had acquired rising merit by serving at his feet, who from his childhood had revealed himself as the touchstone of prowess by splitting as under the multitude of rutted elephants of his enemies with the sole aid of his sword arm. The beam of rays from the nails of his left foot were mixed with the glow of crest jewels of his enemies, who were made by his prowess to fall on his feet.